Hi guys, it's Lewis from the OBD company, and just making a quick video on this Telwin Doctor 130 charge. We sell these in our shop online. You can find the links below in the video description. I just wanted to show you, even if you've not brought it from us, if you've got this equipment, a lot of people don't know how to use the different modes on it. It's not straightforward on how to use it. There's double press buttons, there's hold buttons, there's lots of different modes, and the worst thing you can do is put it on 24 volt on a vehicle that's 12 volts. So you need to be sure you know how you're using this correctly, otherwise you could have it connected to the vehicle, it could be connected to the actual terminals, you press the wrong button and it switches it over to 24 volt and blows all the control modules on the vehicle. Yeah, and I was just comparing these. They're not even on the same level, but the benefits of this over something like this. So this is a booster pack. A lot of people, when they're remapping and programming, use booster packs. It's not recommended. It's not clean energy. It's full of static, so it can create you to issues like brick in the ECU. And it's a set voltage, so the moment you unplug this from the charging, so once you finish charging this and you take this out on a job, it's at a set voltage, it can't go up from that. So if on the vehicle like this one, the radiator fan comes on during programming and that takes a big 30 amp draw, this won't do anything to do with bringing that voltage up or the amperage up to supply, because it's not plugged into the wall, so it can only provide what it's got, and that's that. So the only way that's going is down on the voltage, and that can create issues. When you're programming, you need to be around about sort of 12.8, 13.6 volts, somewhere around there, when you're programming. On a car like this is quite an old car. I think it's around about 2003 BMW X5. Let's zoom out a bit so you can see. So it's quite an old BMW X5, but even this will draw a good sort of 50 amps, 60 amps during programming. Newer cars, a newer version of this would have a lot more ECUs on there, a lot more computers that are going to draw more amperage and pull the voltage down. So yeah, don't ever use one of these. Always use a battery support unit. You got basic level battery support units like the Sealy and Draper, which do a good job supplying around about 25 amps. But a lot of times you're going to need more than that. This will supply, I think these supply actually 120 amps, even though they call it a 130, they actually supply 120 amps. But yeah, they're decent units. Other things that will be on this level is the GYS flash programmer, the battery support unit. That's a good one if you're doing programming. But the main purpose of this is to make sure you're not switching over to 24 volts. I'm going to show you how to use the battery support unit side of it and how to use the start function. So this vehicle here, this BMW, is really flat. I think it's around about 9 volts. The battery's really low. So what I'm going to do is just switch the unit on. There's a power switch just down here at the back. Okay, what I'll show you this way. If you leave the unit switched off, so it'll take a few seconds to switch off, but leave it switched off and connect up the support unit to the battery terminals. So that's just switched off. It's plugged into the wall, but the actual plug's off. So connect this up first, because what this does, if you don't switch the unit on, it will show you the current voltage. So it'll switch itself on off the voltage off this battery. So you can see it's off at the moment. When you make this connection, it switches itself on. There's no backlight, but it switches itself on. It shows you the current voltage on here. So as you can see, it's 9.7 volts. It's flashing because it's a low battery, detecting it as a wet battery, 12 volt battery. So it does a nice little test for you to see how bad the battery is at the beginning. You can use this to charge, recondition, all that sort of thing, but all we're going to do today is the Jumpstart and the battery support. So what we'll show you first is the Jumpstart. So as you can see, it's 9 volts. This 3 litre diesel car won't start on 9 volts. So what we can do, we can hold down this mode button. We've just got to switch it on first. Switch the unit on the back. So it's switched on now. Now it's got the backlight. So what you need to do is hold down this button. So hold it down for about 2 seconds until the word start appears. Let's press it. Right, so it says start now. It says go. So what it does is it sets itself in a mode for us to go and crank the engine. It will monitor what's going on, how much amps are needed and voltage and all that. And it's going to charge the big capacitors in here with lots and lots of power from the wall. And then once it says, it does a countdown. And once it says go again, that means we can go and try and start it. So what I'll do, I'll pause the video now, walk around to the car and try and crank the engine. So I'm with the ignition now, so I'll just zoom back out. So I'm going to try and turn it over, and I'll just zoom in so you can see the screen. So it says go, so I can try and turn it over now. So it started first time, even though it was 9 volts. So that count, I'll switch it off a second. That countdown timer, so it did it first time. If it didn't do it, it charges the capacitor. That's what it's doing now, counting down. Once that gets to 0, it'll say go again, and then you can basically have another go at starting it. So if the battery was really, really low, it probably wouldn't do it on the first. But then after doing 30 seconds, it'll be ready to go again, and it'll probably start up pretty much any car at that. So yeah, that's the starting function. Really useful if you've got a dead battery and you don't want to wait around charging it. Once you've got the car charged, the alternator will charge the battery anyway. If it's a really bad condition, you'll need to actually recondition the battery by putting it on this and put it on the charging functions to recondition it. But what I'll do now, I'll show you the battery support unit side of it. So I'm going to switch the ignition on to get when I'm on this side to get some draw. I'll pause the video and go around the other side. So what I'm going to do now is show you the battery support unit side of it. I'm just going to switch the unit off again so we can start from afresh. So it'll take a bit of time to shut down, but yeah, we'll start from a complete fresh. Right, so that's gone off now. I'll just disconnect one of these leads so it loses all power altogether. So yeah, now it's fully gone off. What I'm going to do is switch the unit on. It does its self-test. Just wait till it gets to this screen here. Connect it to your battery or your terminals. Make sure they're on nice and as it should be, and then come across to the screen again. As you can see, bad condition battery at the moment. It's still down at that voltage and needs a good charge. So to use the battery support unit on this, if you're programming this, you need it around about 13 volts. All you need to do is literally just hold this function button for the same amount of time as I did before with that one. It's about 2-3 seconds, and it'll set it into diagnostic mode. So hold that down. So now it's gone into diagnostic mode, detecting 12 volt battery. It's going to sit itself at 13 volts. It's just going to start up now. See that amperage there, it went shot up. And that's what the car is drawing at the moment. So it's drawing 20 amps, just 22 amps, 23, 25, just with the ignition on. If that radiator fan comes on, it's a big radiator fan on these. If this radiator fan comes on, that's going to add another sort of 30 amps, 20, 30 amps on there. So it'll be sitting around about 50, 60 amps draw, just with it while we're programming. But no matter what happens with this vehicle behind, no matter what it tries to draw, what powers up, what draws from the battery, this will sit at 13.5 volts. You can adjust this figure if you want. You can lower it down. Some people like to be sort of 12.8, somewhere around there, but 13.5 is fine. The vehicle runs on around about 14 volts, 14.5 volts when it's running anyway, so all the units can take 13.5, absolutely fine. But that's it. That's all you need to do to use the diagnostic function. You switch it on, hold down function for a few seconds with it connected to the battery, and it just sets itself. So if you're only using it for diagnostic programming, or you could almost, to stop yourself pressing this button or any of the other buttons, you could just blank out this with a sticker and just leave that button, and just a 3-second hold on that will get you to the mode that you want. What I'll show you how easy it is to change this from 12 volts to 24 volts. I'll just take it off the vehicle. So it's off the vehicle now, but if I just press this button here, volt, that's it, it's on 24 volts, supplying 27 volts to the vehicle. So if you got this connected to the vehicle, just don't press this button, because if you're working on a 12 volt vehicle, it's just going to shove it straight over to 24, and it'll be supplying 27 volts to the car. So yeah, really good unit, well built. It is quite big. Just put it to scale, that's my hand, and you can see it's quite a big heavy unit. You can wall mount it. We've got a trolley on order because it can go onto a trolley, so this will be going onto a trolley, but you can wall mount it onto the wall here, and then pull your vehicle in, connect it up, and then you've got a good support then. But if you want to know any more, if you want me to review anything else or talk about battery support units versus this, just leave comments in the messages below. And if you want to buy one of these, just click on the description below and you can go to our shop and purchase the item.